Welcome back to Trials and Triumphs, the podcast where we uncover the extraordinary stories of everyday people. Today's guest is Annika Finley, a real estate agent based in Salt Lake City, Utah, one who truly understands the challenge of figuring out what you want to do with your life. Annika is a wife, a new mom to a 1-year-old boy, and a passionate professional who loves helping others buy and sell homes. But before landing the career that lights her up, Annika spent several years figuring it all out, asking the hard questions, exploring different options, and learning that clarity often comes after a whole lot of trial and error. In today's episode, we'll hear about the journey of discovery, the doubt that creeps in along the way, and how Annika finally found a calling that brings her joy. I'm excited to share her story with you. Annika, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
It would be fun to note that Annika and I have actually known each other for years. I was in the same church congregation with her and was assigned to be essentially a support to her, called a ministering brother.
Yeah, Julian's awesome.
Well, let's dive in here now, Annika, just a little bit.
Okay, cool.
So most of our listeners won't know you as well as I do, and I probably don't know some of the answers to some of these questions, but I would love it if you would tell us a little bit about your early life and background.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I grew up in Holiday, Utah. I have 3 brothers. I'm the only girl, and I don't know, I really loved my childhood. I did ballet growing up, so that was like a huge part of who I was until I quit. But I loved ballet. I don't know, I always enjoyed going to school, loved hanging out with my family, enjoyed traveling. I don't know what else I would add, but that's a little bit about me.
I guess because part of your journey will talk about like your career. I'm curious, growing up, what was your favorite subject in high school or like elementary school? What did you enjoy?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So it's so funny, like growing up, I loved school, but I never like had a favorite subject really. Like I just enjoyed being there, enjoyed learning. But people all the time would be like, "Oh, I love math, but I don't love history," or blah blah blah. And like I didn't really relate to that. Well, okay. I never loved history or geography. But like as far as like math and reading, like kind of those bigger subjects, bigger because I feel like they were just such a big part all the time of what we studied. Like I just enjoyed them all, but there wasn't ever something that like stood out to me until I got to high school and I took a humanities class that I really loved. It's called humanities, but I feel like my teacher, he was awesome. I feel like it was like a little more sociology influence. So like social studies, you know. So that's kind of where all of a sudden I just like fell in love with the social sciences, which isn't really related to real estate, but it is something I love.
That's really cool. And I guess
Yeah.
getting a bigger picture of you, so you enjoyed ballet. Did you do any, were you on any teams in high school or elementary school?
So I never did like competition or anything. I just did ballet at West Academy. So I feel like that shaped a lot of who I was, of like my dedication and my work ethic. Just because you have to like ballet is so precise and strict, so it really taught me a big work ethic, you know. So yeah, but yeah, I never liked sports. I always avoided them. But ballet was where I thrived.
I love that. I guess as we
Yeah.
look at your early life, what were some key moments that shaped you?
Hmm. It's a good question. I feel like I really fell in love with traveling at a young age. So, like, experiencing new cultures and new places really shaped me and just like broadened my understanding of the world. So yeah, I don't know. I would say that's a big part that I can think of right now. And
What
then
were,
going to me, like,
yeah,
church is really big too. So, like, learning about religion and about Christ was definitely a huge part of shaping my identity as well.
I love that. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
traveling was part of your childhood, or at least your upbringing. And you
Hmm.
mentioned that. I'm curious as to what were some of the places that you remember either really fondly or really poorly that shaped you.
Oh, I don't really remember any poorly, but I mean, I've always loved Hawaii. It's like my number one place. I remember telling people growing up that I wanted to live there one day. And then I did end up living there for a few years and hopefully will be moving back at some point. So love that place. And then in high school, but like younger in high school, I was probably like 15. We went to Europe and I just like fell in love with Europe. So those are probably the main two places we traveled to that I just really love.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Knowing how much you loved living in Hawaii, based on my experience, what you've told me, I didn't realize that you'd grown up going there too, that you'd developed that love
Mm-hmm.
prior to actually moving there.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Oh my
Yeah, it's
gosh.
what drove me to move out there because I just love it so much. So yeah.
You mentioned ballet being a really big part of your upbringing. For
Hmm.
you, before we dive into talking about your career, I'm curious as to were there any lessons or experiences that you had in ballet, knowing that it was a big part of your upbringing, that have stuck with you?
Good question. Can't really think of like one big lesson. I feel like it's just kind of the overall like but where I was in Ballet West Academy, it was very, very strict. And so like we had to make sure that we showed up on time. We like they really disliked if we missed any classes, things like that. So it was good and bad. Like it does teach you like a work ethic, but it's also hard when you're just, a little kid,
Yeah,
like having people be so strict with you. Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess that'd be the main thing that I can think of right now. I guess it also broadened my view of the world, just like traveling did, because growing up in Utah and being a member of the major religion here, like being surrounded by that, like you can just kind of be in a bubble. But because I was in ballet, it brought like people from different walks of life into my life at an earlier stage. And I just am so grateful for that because it really like helped me understand the world more, and not just be so like narrow-minded with things. So I guess that's another lesson that I learned.
that's cool. I like that it was able to broaden
Hmm.
your horizons in a sense.
Hmm.
That's
For
really
sure.
cool. And then would you say your family was pretty close growing up?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, we still are. Yeah, we've always been close. Everyone in my family really loves to travel and we love spending time together. So it was fun. So funny growing up, like when I would tell people I didn't have any sisters, they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." But I was always like, "Why?" Because I was just close to my brothers and I loved having all brothers. Like I never wanted to have a sister because I was so happy with my family. So yeah.
My dad actually put us in ballet when we were really young.
Really,
He had heard that
that's
some
so
of the
cool.
professional NFL players had done
Yes.
ballet when they were younger. So I'm curious, knowing that you have only brothers, did any of them also do ballet?
That's a good question. None of them did ballet. My younger brother did like gymnastics and tumbling, so not the same, but kind of related. But yeah, that's cool that you did it for a little while. How long did you do it?
Not long enough to appreciate that I was the only guy surrounded by
Yeah.
women.
That's so funny.
I was too young to
Right.
appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess pivoting now to your I guess high school slash post high school.
Hmm.
What was the significant challenge that you faced? We've alluded to it a little bit, but tell us about it.
Hmm. So okay, going back to ballet, growing up. I was just like, I want to be a professional ballerina. Like that was kind of the dream. Um, and I would just tell people that all the time if they asked what I wanted to do. But to be honest with ballet, like it's part hard work and dedication, and it's also just part like how you were born. I've never been flexible, is what I'm trying to say. So, like, your body type. Like, I've never been flexible as hard as I stretched for years and years. Like, I was in dance constantly. Like, I never was able to do the splits, which was crazy to some people because they wouldn't be in ballet and they'd be able to do it. And so it kind of just got to a point that I was just like, I don't think this is the right path for me. Like, I am working so hard and have some natural talent in some parts of ballet, but it just didn't feel like it was right. So, yeah, that was in high school that I kind of decided that. I ended up quitting ballet for a few reasons. And then I don't know, I feel like it was just kind of a classic high school thing. Maybe not everyone's like this, where I just when people would ask what I want to do, I was just like, I don't know. Like you'd go to the career classes and I was just clueless. And I would I remember taking like a career quiz and like just not being interested in anything that it said I would be good at and stuff. So I was just so confused for a while. So,
So I guess for you, you kind of addressed
hmm
this a little bit, but maybe there's more, a little bit more here. How did the
hmm
challenge impact you initially? So you talked about high
yeah.
school getting these quizzes, and I guess for
Mhm.
you, the immediate reaction was the fact that nothing appealed to you. So I guess as we proceed
Mm,
on this journey, what were the turning points or pivotal moments?
yeah, there were several. So I don't know. I guess you can just stop me along the way. I don't want
Go
to
for it.
go too much. But yeah, so I just kind of discovered, I feel like it was senior year of high school, did that quiz, and I was like, well, now I know like a bunch of things that I don't want to do. I have no idea what I want to do, but like I know I don't want to be a doctor. I know I don't want to, do all these different things. And I think it kind of made me narrow-minded because I probably would have said, oh, I don't want to do real estate, like just assuming. I don't know. But
Mm.
so yeah, at that point, I was applying to colleges, ended up getting accepted to a few, and I decided to go to BYU. Um, so that was definitely a pivotal moment just because of all the people that I met there, including Julian. Um, so yeah, I was really excited to go. I had no idea what I was going to study, but I was like, I'll figure it out when I'm there. So I went to BYU. The first year I loved socially and I loved my classes. I just took generals, but I still like didn't declare a major. I just like for that whole first year, I just kind of was taking generals and just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Um, After that year was up, I ended up serving a mission for my church and loved it. The whole time I was there, you'd think on and off, like, oh, what do I want to do when I get back home? People would ask me. And I started to think, like, I think I like social sciences, so, like, maybe I'll do sociology or, like, psychology, something like that. Um, and so when I got home, I still wasn't super sure. I was thinking, something social science. Um, but I remember I was talking to one of my good friends that Julian knows, Naomi, and she was telling me about her major, which it's called family studies or family life. And it just sounded so interesting to me because it was kind of a mix of sociology and psychology, but like with a family blend where you're just learning about like how to have healthy relationships with family members, and it's like just all about family, basically. Um, so I took a class just to like see how I liked it, and I just fell in love. Like I remember walking home from that class just like grinning. Like, you're walking down the street and it's just so funny. Usually you just are kind of like neutral face, but I was just like so excited for like that whole semester because I just loved what I was learning. It was all so fun. So decided to study family life. And at that point, I just was like, okay, maybe after I study this, I'll go to grad school and like become a marriage and family therapist. The tricky thing with that was I just didn't know what, like, with marriage and family therapy, it's hard because you can't really shadow people because therapy is like a very private thing, you know? So it's not like if you're, I don't know, becoming a doctor even, and you can like shadow, not that you can do the things, but you can like watch it more so. Um, so that made it kind of tricky, but my professors would just say like, oh, you can like watch some example therapy online, things like that. So I did some, and it never like super excited me, but I just kept thinking, I don't know, it feels like it could be good. So whenever people would ask me, I'd just tell them like, I think I'll do marriage and family therapy. And a big part of that was because I love teaching. I've always loved it. So I was like, I could do that, and then maybe later on I'll get a PhD and become a professor. Anyways, fast forward a little bit.
I guess before you
The,
continue, let
yeah,
me ask this.
go ahead.
As you're going through this, you're
Yeah.
potentially considering a master's degree. Were you ever
hmm
considering other options, or were you like, this feels good, I'm going to continue moving forward?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I was still in college, still had a couple of years left. Well, I guess I considered it the whole time I was in college. And I prepared as if I was going to get my master's, like made sure to like keep my grades up. I ended up with I think yeah, with a 4.0 in college, literally because I was like I need to get into a master's program. Like I was like so dedicated because of that. You know, I was just like I don't know. I was just like I need to get in. So it really was my only mindset at the time, even though I was like, I don't know if I'll even like therapy, but I was just like, I don't know, it makes sense. Like, I'll just do it because I also really loved school. And I was just like, I just don't want to leave college. Like, I just really enjoyed it. So, yeah, it was kind of just my one track mind at the time. Of course, I had moments of doubt, but I just kept moving forward on that path. Um, but yeah, so then I partially like near the end of my college journey, whatever you want to say it's called. Anyways, the pandemic hit, so all my classes were online, and I was just like, wait, why don't I live in Hawaii for a while? Like I've always wanted to, and this is a good time to do it, you know? So I decided to just pack up and move. I didn't know anyone there. I just went and ended up meeting people. That's where I ended up meeting my husband. Um, and I think that was like another turning point was like obviously meeting my husband, but also just living in Hawaii, just I don't know, I guess not even career wise, but just helping me realize even more like what I wanted with life, you know, like I loved being there, loved the culture and the people and the lifestyle and everything. So, um, I'm trying to think what was next. I guess,
I guess so.
yeah, go
You've
ahead.
you've lived in Utah, so you've lived in on
Yeah.
the mainland, and then you've
hmm
also lived internationally in Europe.
hmm
And so you've had exposure to other areas. What was it about Hawaii slash the culture
hmm
there that made you decide maybe I want something different?
Yeah. I think I mean, honestly, so much of it is just the ocean and the beach. Well, yeah, nah, different things. Ocean, beach, the weather, all of that stuff. Like it just really like has such a calming like presence, I guess you'd say. So I guess that's kind of something that like brought to me. It was like, man, I really want like I just love like that sense of just like loving life and not just like going through all the motions, you know, like taking time to really love it and enjoy it. But then also just the culture there. People are very like family oriented, very just very loving. So I guess I wouldn't really say it like changed my trajectory, but it just like made me fall in love even more with I don't know, that kind of lifestyle. I don't know, it's so hard to put into words. But yeah.
At least for me, so I've been to Hawaii. I've only been once, but
hmm
from what I understand of the culture from being there and what I've heard about it, is it's a much slower pace of life,
Definitely. Yeah.
and I feel like most of the US, the way I see it, and I
Mm-hmm.
realize I'm a little biased, I have my own lens, but I see it as we're more human doings than human beings. But in
Mm-hmm.
Hawaii, the focus was on being, like in the present moment, enjoying
Totally.
things as they were. And so maybe that's something that
Mm-hmm.
was calling to you.
Yeah, no, it was really good for me because I am terrible at slowing down. And it just was so, and I think especially being there during the pandemic when things were even slower, it was just like, whoa, like you just had so much time to just like think and breathe and like savor life, you know? And I just really love that. So I guess what I would say is that probably helped me realize like I for sure didn't want like a 9 to 5 job, you know, because I was just like, I love like being able to, because my classes were online, like take a break. Not that I'm not doing things, like I was studying all day, but like you can take a break and like go to the beach and just like savor life more. So I really loved that about it. So, yeah.
That's cool. So you took your stint, went to
Yes.
Hawaii, did online classes, and
Hmm.
then that came to an end.
Yes, sadly.
How did you decide? Did you have a moment where you're like, okay, my classes are done. I want to stay, and I'm gonna make my life here, or
Hmm.
did you really like my classes are done? And it's time to go back. I guess what was your mentality? How did you make your decision?
Yeah. So, okay, originally I was just there for a semester. I just was kind of torn, wasn't sure what I was gonna do. So I decided to go back to the mainland, like to finish up college at least. I was dating my husband, and we weren't sure like where things were gonna go. So that was, but that's a whole other story. I won't get into it. But yeah, I just decided to come back to the mainland and finish my classes because like otherwise I would have had to take a semester off. And I was just like, I love it here, but I also just like want to finish college. Like I was so close. I was 2 semesters away, and I was just like, I just feel better about just like finishing it instead of putting it on pause, like to live here for a little. Um, but then I did end up because, like I said, my husband and I weren't sure like if we are gonna keep dating or what. But when I came back, we did end up like dating long distance, and anyways, again, this isn't like the main story of for this, so I'll just like speed through it. But basically, once we got married, I had like I graduated college the same semester that we got married, so then I moved back to Hawaii for a couple of years. So then I had another pivotal moment there. Well, a few. So it is like a big part of the story now. Um, so basically, I moved there. I had graduated. Originally, I'd been planning on starting a grad school program like the year after I graduated. But because I was in Hawaii, I put that off a year because there wasn't like a grad school program there and I didn't want to look at online programs. Um, so when I moved there, I just, this was like a big time of exploring. This is like the year where I was like really figuring out what I wanted to do with my career. Because I moved there and I was just I had to find a job, you know, like because I didn't have school and I was just like, well, obviously I'm not gonna just sit around all day. Um, and I just found like a little job. It was so fun, but I just like helped people on the beach, taught them how to make leis and different things like that. So that was really fun, but it was not like a very steady income. I mean, my next job wasn't super steady either, you know, because it was just like a short term thing. But I was like, I need something more. So I ended up applying to become a substitute teacher. And I subbed at elementary schools and I fell in love with it. I was not expecting to love it. I just kind of was like, oh, this is a good job out here. But I just loved it so much. Like it was my favorite job up until that point. Um, so at the same time, this was when I was starting to apply to grad school programs. And so I was just like, well, I'll just keep continuing on with my original plan of marriage and family therapy. So I was working on applications and I just like dreaded it whenever I had to work on the applications. Like I just got no excitement out of it, which I guess isn't saying that much because they're just not fun in the first place. But like the thought of doing it, like I was just like dreading. Um, and so, but since I had like fallen in love with like helping kids in elementary school, I thought maybe I'll still do kind of the therapy-ish side of it and do like school counseling. So I applied to some school counseling grad school programs. I think more than one, maybe only one. I don't remember. Um, anyways, so that was kind of my new thought was like, okay, maybe I'll do school counseling instead. Um, and when I applied, or yeah, so like fast forward, I get rejected from the BYU MFT program, which is like what I had worked so hard to get into. And I just felt relief when I did. Like I was a little annoyed, but I wasn't like sad. I was just like, really? Like I worked so hard to get into this, you know? Um, but I was also relieved. But then I think it was like that same week, the school counseling program that I was going to do asked me to interview, and their MFT program did too. But the MFT one, I'd have to fly back to Utah to interview. And I was just like, I felt I wasn't sad when I got rejected from the other one, so maybe I'll just say no to this. So I just decided to say no and just like change paths on that. But I did the school counseling interview because it was online and I ended up getting accepted. And I was like excited, also unsure, but excited. So I just planned on doing that. So I wish that past me could listen to it, which is why I'm sharing it. So
Yeah.
basically, I yeah, I get accepted to school counseling program. It's coming to the end of our time in Hawaii, which was really sad, but again, another story. Um, but we had to move back because my husband graduated. I mean, I guess we could have stayed, but it just made more sense to be near family and stuff because we knew we wanted to start a family soon and everything. Um, and so we moved back, and then, like right after we moved back, we went with my parents to Europe for a couple of weeks, for like a graduation gift to me. And when we were there, the grad school tuition was due. And it was like, I think on my birthday or the day before or something. I just remember it was like a big, I don't know, like, anyways, I guess that doesn't matter. But basically, I'm sitting on the couch and it was due in like an hour, and I was just like feeling so sick about it. And I was kind of confused because I'd like felt pretty good about doing the program, but I was just like bawling on the couch, like in this random Airbnb. And I was just like, I don't like feel good about this. I don't know what to do. Because it was due and everything. And I ended up paying the tuition. Because I was just like, I don't know, I guess I'll just pay it. Like, I don't know what else to do. Um, and even after I paid it, I just wasn't feeling super good, but I was like, I'll just move forward with this. It's fine. We get back from Europe and my classes started. And so I was in this grad school program. And I felt a way that I had never felt about school. Like, I just dreaded it. I didn't have fun. Like I said in the past, like, I'd always loved being in school. Like, I was just kind of a nerd for it. But with this grad school program, I just, like, I don't know, I avoided doing the homework. I just wasn't loving it. And a couple weeks in, I think it was right before you, like, the withdrawal deadline where you could get your tuition back or something like that. I don't know. I was just like having this panic and I was like, I don't know what to do because I'm just not loving this. And part of the reason was because I knew that the second year I was supposed to do a full-time internship. And that was like right when I was hoping that I would have a little baby. And I just was like, I value a career. Like personally, I've always wanted to be able to do some kind of work while having kids. But I did not want to like be full time in something, especially with a little baby. So that mixed with just not loving the classes, um, I was really confused. So this is where I just started to spend a lot of time. Not that I haven't been in the past, but I like really spent a lot of time like praying and pondering and talking with people, just trying to figure out what I was doing, because I was like, I don't want to continue with this program if it isn't right, but I also like, if I drop out, then what am I supposed to do, you know? So I also spent a lot of time just studying, like, I don't know who listens to this, but like my patriarchal blessing, basically like a blessing, to help give me guidance throughout my life. And so I was just like doing all of this work, just like trying to listen to God, but also trying to listen to like my own desires, like just trying to figure it out. Um, and when I was doing this whole process, I just so I was trying to like really be good with my prayers of like, not good, but like really be in tune. So I would like take time to just ponder, pause, think. And I had a notepad by me and I would just like write down the thoughts that came to my mind. And so I just started to think like, okay, what do I value? And it's kind of going back to what I said of like what do I want for my kids and everything. And I was just like, I don't want a 9 to 5 job. Even if I did that internship, like that wouldn't be the end with school counseling. Like you have to clock in, you need to be there a certain amount of hours every week, which I was totally fine with once my kids were in school, but like that wouldn't be for several years for me. Um, and so so when I was like doing that whole thing of like praying, pondering, writing in my journal and stuff, I just started to like have this thought come to me of like ask mom about real estate because my mom was an agent. And I was like, what? I was so confused because it was it was something I thought like, oh, maybe because my mom got her license like 12 years ago. So I think I was in junior high-ish time. Anyways, so I thought like, oh, maybe I'll get it like, around the age that she got her license. I don't know why, but for some reason I'd always thought that. Um, but then I just kept having this thought come to me like that I should explore that path. So I talked to her and I was like, hey, can we go to lunch and just talk about real estate? And we did. And she just was honest with me of like the things that she loves about it, the things that she doesn't, and everything. And so I was like a little skeptical at that point.
fast forward to like after I was in real estate and stuff, they reached out to me and they asked like, "Hey, what are you thinking? Are you wanting to join the program this upcoming year?" And it just like caught me off guard because my like mentally I was finally at a place like after years. I was finally at a place where I wasn't like, is this what I want to do? I don't know. Like it just was very clear like, no, this is my career. Like this is what I want to do with my life. Career wise. So it was just like really cool to get that email because it just showed me like, wait, like I know what I'm doing now, and that was just like so relieving to know. And
Oh my gosh. So I guess part of the reason why you shifted into real estate was this essentially, from what I understand, like a sickening feeling. You had this poor feeling about going to grad school.
yeah,
Have you experienced any of that at all while pursuing this route of getting
question.
going into real estate?
No, I haven't. Like it's just all felt good. And obviously every career has their ups and downs, things you like, things you don't. It's just like that in real estate. But yeah, it's just like it's felt good. And I think so much of like why I was feeling kind of sick about grad school was because I just like really wanted to be able to be present for my baby and like I knew myself and I know that like when I'm in school I get a little obsessive and like perfectionist mentality, and so I just wanted to like not have that with my kids. So it's been great. Like there definitely are days where it's really busy and I'm like it's just a constant balancing act of figuring out how to give my baby enough attention while obviously like giving my work the attention it needs too, but it's really rewarding to me to be able to do both. So
I love that, Annika. Oh
yeah.
my gosh. As we look at this journey, we've talked about a couple of different people, but who or what has helped you most?
Yeah, great question. Obviously, my mom for sure. Like being a real estate agent, number one, but also being my mom and just like being there to listen to me. I just, especially the first few months, but even now, like literally today, I called her because I had a question for one of my clients of like, wait, like remind me, like just figuring things out. She's just such a great support. Um, and then definitely my husband too. Like he's very supportive. Real estate is a crazy career because it's so like basically what I explain to people is you're on call 24/7. Like you might not be working the full 8 hour, like literally doing something. Well, at least me, because I'm like also focusing on my baby. But like I'm constantly like making sure my clients are okay, like making sure I'm, doing everything that they need, showing them the house they need and stuff. And you can get a call saying like, "Hey, I really want to see this house. Like, can we go?" And you just like jump in the car and go right then. So like my husband's been really supportive with that of just like the chaos of my schedule being very unpredictable. Like you just never know what I'm actually going to be doing that day. I mean, you do, but it just gets kind of chaotic. So, yeah, I mean, like my family in general, but definitely my husband and my mom have been very supportive. So, yeah.
That's incredible. I guess through this journey of exploring all the other careers as well, has anyone else been helpful for you?
Yeah, in at BYU, like I had a few professors that I was like closer to, like just enjoyed talking to, and they were like mentors to me. So they really helped me when I was like trying to figure out what I wanted to do, even though I didn't end up doing it. But they were great, and just I don't know, like friends, like really just anyone I was close to that was willing to listen to me talk about my thoughts, like I make decisions by like thinking and talking things through with people. So there it's just hard to name them because there were so many people along the way that helped. So
I appreciate you sharing that. As we look at this picture, zooming out, what
Mhm.
have been some of your biggest lessons that you've learned through this experience?
um going back to what I said of like being in a service career, like I
Mhm.
just have learned how much of a service career real estate is, and I just never realized that because like for example when my clients fall in love with a home And maybe part of it is that I like should have better boundaries. But like if they're like, hey, I really want to like put in an offer on this home and it's like 9 p.m. at night, like I will stay up late to get that offer in to make sure that they get the home, and it's something like I could easily just be like, oh, I'll do it in the morning. But like I just really like I care so much about my clients and making sure that they are taken care of. So I've just learned like I don't know how much of a like service it is. Obviously you're getting paid, but you are for other jobs too. So that's one lesson. And then another one is just to like trust yourself and like trust your gut, I guess, and feelings, because I think I could have saved myself a lot of like misery and pain if I had just trusted my feelings earlier on of like not feeling good about these other career paths, like because I just kept pushing through because I was like, well, logically it sounded right, but like it didn't feel right. So just trusting the feelings you have too is something that I've learned. And then obviously trusting God, like trusting what he has for you because he will help. And I definitely learned that like through all the prayers and just trying to rely on him with it. So, yeah.
Hey, Annika, as we go to wrap, I would like to ask you one final question.
Okay.
Through all of your experiences, what have you learned about what matters most in life?
That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, I think that so much of this taught me what I value in life. That's why I picked my career. It's something I've like learned to become passionate about, like, and I have, but it's not like I was automatically so passionate about real estate as I am now. But it was that like I just value my family so much and time with my family, and as much as I can like make sure that I'm present and there for them, I want to be. And so that's why I picked the career I did. Is for me, it's something that helps me to just like have them as my priority. So
thank you for sharing that. Knowing that family and service are probably, I would say, cornerstone values for your life. It seems like this journey has been able to teach you just the importance of that.
Yeah, for sure. And just learning that like no matter what your career is, you can serve people, like as far as the service part goes. I think I was just very narrow-minded at the beginning of my career search, thinking like, oh, it needs to be like something that's very clearly a service, So that's definitely part of it. And yeah, just, I don't know, just finding like, it's just so important to really like figure out what we value in life and build a life around those values. So
incredible. This thought popped into my mind. I would love your thoughts on this. To anyone that's in a similar situation to you right now, exploring it, considering options, what would you tell them?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think first of all, I'd tell them that it won't last forever. That like exploring, trying to figure out like they will get to a point where they're confident in their decision, because it's hard to feel like that sometimes. And then just to remember to trust themselves and their own decision-making abilities, to open up to people around them, like include other people in the decision because other people know us in ways we don't know ourselves. And then, of course, if they want to include God in that too. So, yeah.
We appreciate that, Annika. Thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on here.
Thank you so much to Annika for sharing her story and reminding us that figuring out your own path, especially when it comes to your career, is rarely a straight line. It takes time, reflection, and a whole lot of courage to move forward when things feel uncertain. If you're in the middle of figuring things out, or know someone who is, I hope this episode gives you and them some encouragement and clarity. If you're in Utah and need a realtor who loves what she does, don't hesitate to reach out to Annika. As always, thank you for listening to Trials and Triumphs. We'll see you next time. And remember, every trial brings its own triumph.